Hello everyone, stage 3 of alpentourtrophy 2022 highlights are here, and we are straight into the results of second sports group general classification after 2 stages. This is a visual representation of results by after stats, and you can see that it enables to showcase the progress over the time for participants. And my name is Tomas Bublavičius, and you can see that I jumped from 25th position after stage 1 to whooping 21st after stage 2. So we will see what stage 3 brings, and we will also have similar visualization after every stage from now on. So the start was exactly the same as in the first day. The only difference was I knew what's going in those streets, and that was a helper. The start was exactly the same as on stage 1, so I already knew what to expect. I arrived to the gate like 30 minutes before the start, and there were a lot of people already. My goal was to try to reach as much as possible towards the front in order to avoid bottlenecks on the single track, which eventually which I managed to do really well, and on single track it was all fine. But one thing to mention is that even though I reach somewhat front, between 15 and 100 people, I guess, I was in that pack. Things sorted out very fast because guys were really strong at that part, and they just went uphill faster, and I left myself in the dust. But at least in single track it sorted out perfectly, and I avoided bottlenecks from slower drivers. So, and actually I made one myself a bit. Oops. So you have a bit of a sense what's coming next, but I will still showcase it in a faster way. So here we are moving again through the streets. When there is area to do so, I try to get a bit in front, and all and all goes here normally. I could even say it goes really well compared to what I normally do at the start. But you can see there are still quite a lot of guys up front, and if I want to get a bit more, I have to put that extra energy. Yeah, not going to risk as I did on Thursday on the left, not worth it. Here was a moment, have a look how much space was on the left. That guy managed to squeeze in that area, so that was a brave move by him, I would say. So you can see that in the front there is a motorcycle, I guess, so the start is soon to be happening, and we will see how that position, which I managed to take in the neutral start, how I maintain it. And actually I would say it's not that I lost a lot of places. I moved into a very similar power output on this climb. Just the fact is the guys were moving a bit slower before this happened, so that's why we will see quite a lot of them going past through me. And even though I'm trying to maintain the same 280, 320 watts, and I'm doing that actually spot on, you can see that it didn't help that much. But then, once the easier part is finished, everything is just settles in, and again I can attack. Yeah. And we are into the single track here. And here I got off the bike and managed to get on it on those routes and actual quite steep uphill. So I was proud of myself on that moment that I didn't cause too much of a jam behind me. I was trying to avoid jams myself and even almost caused one. So, oops. But from that moment, it went all good. And here you can see that for the first 5 kilometers, I averaged almost 280 watts, considering that we were in the neutral part and it was in some cases moving quite slow. I think that was a good number to begin the race. And we just 16 minutes into the track and I'm already drinking for a second time, I guess. It might look like this is a speed up version, but no, the guy is just pedaling in high cadence here. And if I feel that the group moves a bit too slow, or if I see there is a faster rider up front, I tend to try to catch him. Doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to ride with him for a whole remaining distance, but just that extra push, extra effort is a lot better than sitting comfortably in a group, and definitely that waiting doesn't help you at all, especially in such a stage of the race when it's only 27 minutes. So this is the same downhill which was on the stage 1, and this is yet another example how knowing the course doesn't necessarily mean that you are going in the proper trajectory. So you can see that I got into the loose gravel here and went too wide. But it feels like I was running a bit better this time, even though I made that mistake. So this is again a situation where I saw a fast rider, and it's actually from Elite Masters. His bib number is 155, if I'm not mistaken, and he is from Finland. So there was a VOC team from Finland. So not sure for reasons why he was behind in the beginning, but you can see that he's climbing like it's nothing.
Nice work, man.
It's a third day in a row racing in Alps, in Schladming area, and at least today I finally felt a bit more comfortable than going downhills. And even though they were most of them were on gravel, but in the first few days I kind of been too much afraid, braked a lot, etc. And today it was a bit of a different story, and the guys were not flying through me on the track, and we just I've moved in the same speed, or even sometimes I managed to catch something up front. So that was a good feeling that I finally managed to get my hands off the brakes a bit more and go in the free speed rather than braking. So that was probably the only cheerful thing for me on stage 3. So here you can see the guy in front even went without hands on the downhill. Maybe he just fixed something on his body, etc. But that was a brave move too. And even though here we are going on the paved road, still 50 plus is a number, and it will go even higher on this downhill. 68, and we probably would be going even faster, but in front where was the gravel, so we just stopped a bit. And one funny thing is that here I'm putting 600 watts on the downhill just to catch up with the group where I braked a few moments ago. So that's very rare that I'm pedaling that hard on the downhill just to maintain that 50 kilometers per hour speed and stay with the guys. So here's just another example how I brake in order to stay on the bike, because I'm a bit too afraid sometimes. And then once I brake and the distance in some cases increases from the group up front, I just have to pedal much more in order to stay with them. But well, actually I wasn't braking that much, it was just the brakes were very loud on my bike. So here the third lap, we averaged 28 kilometers per hour speed, and you can see that my watts powerage was 306 during these 5 kilometers, so I even added more power on the uphill than before. And considering that there was also a downhill, it was even higher. Here we can see how I struggled to go over the routes because I added a bit more pressure on stage 3, and you can see how the guys are flying through. It's very beautiful to see it in reality as well as afterwards. Like here the guy just slides through those routes, and actually he risks, but I assume that he has that skills. About after 20 kilometers I was running quite well at that point, and I was trying to catch a group in front because I knew that there will be some paved roads climbing up, and in the group it's a lot easier to do that than doing alone on the field. And I spent a lot of energy to catch the group in front, but I forgot that there was a food point, and I definitely stopped to replenish the water and think what happened next. The group drove away, and I just spent that energy for nothing actually, and then it was a difficult moment for me to keep up on the track. And even though some guys overtook me, I tried to go on their wheel for some time, but just they were too fast for me, and I was not able to maintain that power for long enough period. And especially when I knew that it's going to be 1000 plus meters uphill almost non-stop, I understood that I can't keep up that energy throughout the whole climb. Here a guy just informed me that he's waiting for his colleague, and there is a gap towards the group in front, and we are coming into paved road for quite a long time here, so I decided to chase it. It was a headwind actually, wasn't that easy, but you have to put that extra effort if you want to catch something in front. And even though the heart rate shows is here something 160 views of beats per minute on the stage 3, you can't rely on the heart rate data because you already have fatigue, and that fatigue makes your heart rate bounce in your chest slower than normally.
Water, please.
So here the group didn't even stop to add water.
No, thank you.
I was offered banana, but I refused to.
Thank you.
And here we were climbing. Don't remember what was the initial starting number of elevation, but you can see under the map on the right, we are here 600 meters already up, and we will be continue climbing for good half and an hour. So in general there was 19 kilometers and 1000 almost 1002 meters of elevation gain for that distance. So this was a not mixed, but a duo team. If I'm not mistaken, they are from German. And I kind of tried to stay with them at least for a while, but it cost me almost every meter for 300 watts, which is normally close to my FTP. So you can imagine that on stage 3, after 2 days prior riding, that's not the number I could maintain for 3+ hours. So there were a few times when I just let them go, and then decided that no, not this time around, and I added that extra effort to get back to them, just later down the road let them go once again. So it was multiple times throughout this climb. And then we got off the paved road into the uphill on this type of pathway, and it was a never-ending climb. You can see that we already have 1100 meters of elevation.
Sorry, guys.
And it's not going to end here. So the stage 3 is all about trying to catch someone in front, and then either staying with them or just allowing them to go.
Let's go.
So I suggested the guy behind me to continue this journey together. So now it looks kind of stupid to catch them and then let them go. So, but that was the feeling I had. Initially you decide that you should try to catch them, and then you just realize that they are too fast and too strong.
We are too fast. Don't rush that fast. Look at the views. No sun.
So here was yet another amazing scenery up front. And also, if you noticed, there were quite a lot of guys on hardtails, meaning that climbing for them was, I can't say it was easy, but it was a bit a different story than going on full suspension bike.
Up, up.
And I noticed that if you thank for someone who's trying to applaud you, etc., it just adds a lot more motivation for them as well to support you and also the other guys in the... So that gentleman probably said something like catch them or similar in Germany. And then I just said watch me and started picking up everyone on that climb, and it was actually a steep one. And eventually, as a present for that effort, there was a photographer on top, and you have seen images and pictures which he managed to capture. So thanks a lot for Sportograph for doing such amazing job during the event. And here we can see speed limiter which showcased that my speed was from 37 to 39, and that means that data-driven solution by Afterstats here is spot on, and my speed showcased on the screen is actually the right one. If policeman measures your speed and it matches what you actually going through, then solution works. So we are already starting to descend here, and it will be a long one here. Not a difficult downhill in terms of technical sections. It was almost all gravel, similar of this type, somewhere more loose, somewhere less, but in general...
Puncture? Do you have spare?
Yeah, in general it was all gravel. Or this type of road is not gravel. Maybe it has a different terminology and how it can be defined. So if you know our words, let me know in the comments. I wish it would be that easy to ride here as it looks like from the camera, because it looks like completely no effort requiring going downhill. So even though you are not putting any watts to the pedals on such descent, which is 50 plus kilometers per hour, but the braking point, the cornering on the side, it's all have different type of effort required. And also the scenery here, I can just once again sit back and watch it. So here we started to descend with a couple of guys and a woman leader. And again, this area I actually noticed during the climb, during the descent as well. So it was breathtaking to see those mountains in the horizon. So imagine we coasting down the downhill 50, maybe 45 kilometers per hour, if not more. And it's very flowy. Few guys are in front, one girl and a guy is in front. So we are going down, everything is very nice. And then we just missed the corner to the left. We just started braking and the girl stopped in front, and I just heading straight into her. So I tried to brake, and at the last moment I managed to spin and turn the handlebars to the side. It was close to a crash, but all went fine. The bad thing in that place was that we were coasting down, we just skipped through the corner, and we had to just get back a few meters up the hill and then go towards the actual course. So it was actually more than 50 kilometers per hour after I saw that. So you can see that average speed of this lap was almost 36 kilometers per hour. And I think that the markup here of the track
That
was a bit too late, because we were really moving very fast here, and the markup appeared
up, up, up
very shortly before the actual
on your left. Thank you.
course.
Sorry.
So we are already 3 hours into the track, and it's 5 kilometers remaining until the finish line. Stage 3 finish was a bit different than 2 days in the past, because it involved additional trail above the finish downhill. That means you just double up the time spent on the downhill trails from what was a few days ago. So knowing that, I try to not to push too much, because downhills are not my thing, surprise surprise. But I managed to overtook a few guys in between of those above and finished trails, and it went very similarly in terms of speed what I did a few days ago, but considering that it was a longer distance going down, I think it was really well executed downhill for my strengths. So if I'm not mistaken, this trail in Vaplanai has the title of Fairy Trail. And it's actually similar the one which is at the top of the mountain blue flow line, but is a bit steeper and with a bit faster gradient down. And those berms, I didn't manage to learn for full extent how to ride them, but in some cases we were feeling a bit better, and some a bit less. And remember my crash on which I showed on stage 1, so every time I hit those ups, I'm a bit of afraid, but you just have to try to land straight, and then chances are minimal that you have something like that repeating again.
From your right. From your right.
And off we go. It's the last time we are riding this finish downhill on this year's Alpentour trophy, because on the last day we're going to have only climb up, and if we decide to go down this trail, it won't be to the finish line, and it will be just our last dance with a Plan 9 bike park, which won't go into the result. And probably after every day the trails are being maintained a bit, but this section was the roughest among all. Whenever you try to find a better traction and less bumpiness, it just leads you to the other one, and it doesn't help that much trying to go one way or the other. So here we go, we are into the stage 3 finish, and we will also see here results of general classification after the stage 3 finish. So here you will see the progress of riders in general classification. So Benjamin Michael was at the top for all days, and he finished stage 3 also at the first place. And me, I managed to reach the 20th position on stage 3 in total, and we will see whether I will be able to do something more about it in the last day. But I'm already 2 hours plus behind the leader, and it's almost 20 minutes gap until the 19th position, so there are very thin chances of me going a bit more upwards in the general classification, but who knows. Also, I could lose some places on the last day because our few guys are only a few minutes behind me. So finish awaits for tomorrow. It will be 13 kilometers with more than 1,000 meters of elevation gain. And considering it's the last day, it kind of seems logical to spend all the energy and just push it through in order to reach the top. But at the same time, I suggest for myself to keep it balanced, not to burn too much energy in the sections of the trail, and just try to maintain the power, maintain the tempo, and just survive, probably, because it's a 4th day non-stop racing, which is a new experience, and I hope that everything will be fine. If you like this type of content, I suggest you to subscribe to this channel, and also have a look at the description of this video, where you could find additional information about this stage, as well as all the other content on my channel. So thanks for the time, and we will meet on the last stage of Alpentour Trophy 2022 next day.